Life is all about the choices that we make. Every day we wake up, it's full of choices to be made. Some of the choices are big, some of them are small. Some choices we make, it seems like the right choice in the moment, but doesn't take us very long to realize that we have made a mistake. I remember back when I was a senior in high school, I wanted to go to college and study broadcast communications. My dream was to do exactly what I'm doing right now, except back then, the only options were radio and television. One of my good friends, her mom was a successful businesswoman. She would allow us to drink at her house as long as we agreed not to leave. We were sitting around one night drinking and playing cards, and her mom started asking all us kids about our future plans. I told her my plans. I was going to study broadcast communications. She immediately starts trying to talk me out of it to convince me not to do that. And in all fairness to her heart was in the right place. She was explaining how very few in radio and television were making good money, how very few actually make it to the top. She was explaining how cutthroat the industry could be, how radio personalities have to move from city to city until they find a way to succeed, and that is if they find a way to succeed and build an audience. Basically, she was pointing out all the negatives, all the flaws in my future plans, and to be honest with you, they were negatives and flaws that I hadn't really thought of. I ended up listening to her. I changed my major to business, and it took me almost 20 years to get back to doing what I always wanted to do. One decision, one choice that I made at 18 years old, one decision that seemed minor in my teenage mind, that decision impacted my life for the next 20 years. Several years ago, Kaitlin Collins had the perfect role at CNN. Katie Roo! Katie Roo! She was working as the White House correspondent during the Trump administration. Katie Roo, she was viewed as the young up-and-comer. She was the young, beautiful woman that executives at CNN talked about as the future of the network. She was constantly generating headlines in the mainstream media for her battles with Donald Trump. Orange man bad. If I remember correctly, Trump eventually revoked her White House credentials. Katie Roo was in the perfect spot. She was the only rising star at a network in desperate need of star power. CNN doesn't have any stars. This network is equivalent to the WNBA. It's a collection of huge embarrassing failures collecting woke welfare in exchange for promoting lies and propaganda. The problem for Kaitlan Collins, she made a consequential mistake in her career. She started believing her own hype. She started believing that she was the savior. She started believing that she was the chosen one who could save the sinking Titanic. Kaitlan Collins allowed herself to be blinded by the hype because the truth is, no one can save CNN. You see, when you're in the position that Katie Roo was in, you want to be the talent that executives think can save ratings in prime time. You don't want to be the talent that actually agrees to do it. You want to leverage that narrative to benefit you and take yourself to a network where you actually have a chance to succeed and draw ratings. Unfortunately for Kaitlan Collins, she did the complete opposite. She left her role as the White House correspondent to be the third chair on a morning show that was destined for huge embarrassing failure. Katie Roo was so delusional. She thought she was the star of the show, which immediately caused tension with the real star, Don Lemon. After the inevitable happened and the trio on CNN this morning ended in huge embarrassing failure, Kaitlan Collins allowed Chris Licht to convince her that she was ready for prime time. If you can't draw ratings in morning television, what in the hell would lead you to believe that you can draw ratings in prime time? Instead of turning down this offer, instead of using the morning show to gain a few more years of experience in TV, Katie Roo dove right off the Titanic headfirst into the sea of failure, a decision that could possibly end her career in the mainstream media before it even gets started. Look at everything that's happened at CNN. Her lone supporter at the network, Chris the Bongo Licker, he gets fired before she even starts in prime time. Now, Katie Roo has put herself in the worst scenario possible. She's put herself in a lose-lose. You can't backtrack now. CNN's already spent thousands of dollars promoting and hyping your primetime debut. You have agreed, oh my God, you have agreed to compete against Rachel Maddow and Sean Hannity, two primetime heavyweights. Obviously, you're not going to succeed, not only because no one succeeds at CNN, but you don't have the experience or the charisma. Watching Kaitlin Collins is like watching a WNBA dunk diver attempt to dunk without the use of a trampoline. It's entertaining to watch the failure at first, but eventually it becomes stale and boring. According to multiple reports from Breitbart and Radar Online, the new executives running CNN, they are becoming increasingly frustrated with the failure of Kaitlin Collins. What a shocker! Who could have predicted this outcome? Things have gotten so bad that executives at CNN, they are contemplating the future of Kaitlin Collins 2 months into her primetime run. Now, in fairness to Katie Rue, 2 months is not enough time to establish an audience in primetime cable news, but the problem for the Ruru, ratings for CNN in primetime, they were already setting record lows. Ruru's taken those record lows and tanked them even further. August 11th, Katie, 481,000 viewers. Last month, 558,000. Now you gotta remember, she is the anchor in prime time. She's anchoring the entire primetime lineup. She's in the 9 o'clock time slot, and she doesn't rank in the top 10 at a network that can't attract Joey Chestnut to a fresh wiener. Ruru is drawing a third of the audience of Rachel Maddow and Alex Wagner on MSNBC. She's drawing a quarter of the audience of Sean Hannity on Fox News. Now, what do all three of those anchors have in common? They've got experience. They are veteran anchors. They've got charisma, relatability. Rachel Maddow and Alex Wagner, they push lies and propaganda, but at least they're entertaining and convincing when doing so. You might not agree with Rachel Maddow, but at least she's likable. Sean Hannity may have the worst makeup in television, but at least he's relatable. The only demographic that Katie Rue can relate to is bitter women and bitter men pretending to be women. That's a very small demo, and it's already dominated by the yentas on The View. According to Radar Online, there is a lot of negativity going on behind the scenes at CNN relating to Kaitlin Collins. She's being described as green, inexperienced, not ready for prime time. One source said Kaitlin Collins will go down as Chris Licht's original sin. When that dude was running CNN, all he did was mess things up and lick bongos. His list of mistakes is longer than Leah Thomas's removed propeller. And this source is telling Radar Online that Kaitlin Collins will go down as Chris the Bongo Licker's biggest mistake? This is pure speculation on my part, but I think Katie Rue's gotten to the end of this year to prove that she can perform in prime time. I think she's gotten to the end of 2023 to show some level of growth. And there is no excuse for lack of growth right now. This is going to be a busy news cycle from now until the end of the year. I would imagine that Kaitlin Collins will be relying on Trump propaganda to boost ratings. There's going to be plenty of opportunities for her to denigrate the orange man. But Katie Rue's been doing that for the past 2 months, and it's been a huge embarrassing failure. Working for MSNBC, not working for Katie Rue or CNN. I think what's going to end up happening by the end of this year, CNN's either going to move Kaitlin Collins out of prime time or they're just going to fire her altogether. If that happens, where's she going to go? She's not going to be accepted by the audience at Fox News. She messed that up by constantly battling with the orange man. She's not woke enough to be accepted by the audience at MSNBC. One simple mistake, one decision made while blinded by the hype could destroy the mainstream media career of Kaitlin Collins. I know she's young. I know young people make bad decisions, but this decision, this choice, this should have been easy. Just think about it. CNN no longer influences the mainstream media cycle. When is the last time CNN generated headlines for actual journalism and reporting? The network remained in the news cycle throughout last year, but that wasn't because of their reporting. It was because of all the drama happening behind the scenes. CNN fired Don Lemon 4 months ago. In the last 4 months, how many times have you heard anything about CNN? Kaitlin Collins wants to be perceived as a serious journalist. Now, put yourself in her shoes. Let's review some of the journalism at CNN in the past few years. If you want to be perceived as a serious journalist, you tell me if you would accept a primetime role at this network. CNN constantly reported on the Russian collusion hoax between Trump and Vlad. They were responsible for promoting that bullshit with Jussie Smollett. Every summer, CNN goes into a complete panic. The violins start playing. The breaking news banner flashes across the screen as CNN predicts the end of the world because it gets hot during the summer. They call it global warming. They call it climate change. They blame you for the unbearable heat. As soon as winter hits and it starts snowing in portions of the South, CNN calls it an extreme weather event that was influenced by fossil fuels. These damn fossil fuels, they have some unique powers. Who would have thought that oil can make it hot while also making it cold? CNN reported on that fake Bubba Wallace story in NASCAR with the fake road. Kyle Rittenhouse. CNN was the network that called BLM riots peaceful protest while a damn building was on fire in the background. They refused to cover the Hunter Biden laptop story. CNN claimed that government wouldn't ban gas stoves while the government was banning gas stoves. Do I need to keep going? Because that's only about 10% of the lies and propaganda that CNN's reported in the last few years. If you're Kaitlan Collins, pretend serious journalist, would you agree to anchor the primetime lineup at this network? You are never going to be taken seriously. You are never going to have credibility. And when you fail to draw ratings in this dump at a network that is allergic to ratings, you're going to take the blame for it. Why would anyone agree to put themselves in that situation? Doesn't make sense to me, but what the hell do I know? I'm not a shit fuck. In the span of 12 months, Kaitlan Collins has completely destroyed her career. I actually kind of feel bad for her. Even though it's all her fault, Katie Rue was given bad advice. She was listening to Chris Licht, someone who doesn't know shit about fuck when it comes to drawing ratings in cable news. You want to know why you don't see a plethora of 20, 30-year-olds hosting primetime cable news? They're not ready. They don't have the experience. Katie Rue allowed Chris Licht to convince her that she was ready. Someone who has the charisma of a stale dog turd actually believed that she was ready to host a primetime cable news show. That one choice, that one decision, could be the beginning of the end of Katie Rue's media career. But give me your thoughts. Kaitlan Collins continues to, I guess to be nice about it, underperform in the ratings in prime time. Do you think she makes it through the end of the year at CNN? Now, I know Radar Online is a gossip site, but I would not be quick to dismiss their reporting here. They have proven time and time again that they've got reliable sources working inside of CNN. This network is in a position where they have to have ratings right now. Katie Rue, not drawing them. At minimum, I think she has moved out of prime time by 2024. But what about you? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys later.